Immunization refers to vaccination that induces immunity for infants and young children against infection or diseases. The administration of the vaccines through the process of immunization helps to stimulate the body's immune system and fortifies the body against unwanted agents. Immunization protects infants and young children against polio, smallpox, whooping cough, hepatitis, tetanus, diphtheria, and various types of childhood killer diseases. Research also supports its efficacy as it has reduced diseases, disabilities, and deaths. The World Health Organization records that every year more than 2.5 million child deaths globally are prevented. The key point is that vaccination saves lives. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention reviews the immunization schedules yearly, while its protection against diseases can last several years and in some cases for life. In Nigeria, available report says the National Program on Immunization (NPI) has suffered setbacks owing to many factors, including ethnicity, religious beliefs, and in some cases, wrong perception of administration, as witnessed recently in some parts of the country. This was caused by fake alarm on the social media, forcing parents to panic and rush their children out of schools. With the topic immunization, application, perception, and impact on children, Weekend File has lined up series of reports, while an expert is waiting on the wings to set the record straight. I am Ifeanyi Okafor, standing in for your regular presenter, Kirian Umayo. But first, the news items for the day. Now we begin with electoral matters. Key agencies concerned with the November 28 governorship election in Anambra State have announced their preparedness for the exercise. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the Anambra State Police Command say all arrangements have been concluded to ensuring a hitch-free and fair election. Joy Luegbu completes the report.
The Electoral Commissioner for Anambra State, Nkwachukwoji, announced that non-sensitive materials for the election have already been received. He stated that this is part of its efforts to tackle grey areas identified in the last election in the state.
We have 5,339 voting points in Anambra. We have printed all of them, neatly packed them. The EOs have cross-checked with their register and made sure that everything is fine. We have packed them and they are just waiting.
The State Commissioner of Police, Garba Umar, gave assurance of adequate security during the exercise. He announced plans by the command to deploy about 28,000 personnel to man the over 4,000 polling units, collation centers, and some flash points.
We are also looking at the various local governments, the needs where we have riverine areas. The Nigerian police, in conjunction with the Marine and the Navy, will provide almost some 8 gunboats that will be patrolling the waterways.
An NTA delegation led by the Executive Director of News, Muhammad Labbo, visited the two agencies to assess grounds for the effective operation of its crew for the election coverage. In Oka, Joy Iluebu, NTA News.
Now, as a follow-up to preparations for the election, the people of Ayamelum local government area of Anambra State have pledged support to the APC standard bearer in the November 18 Anambra governorship election, Tony Nwoye. The people gave their assurance when the campaign train of Tony Nwoye arrived at the council area. Nwabufo Nwoye has details.
Some political leaders in the council area described the APC flag bearer as a tested and trusted candidate following the effective representation he is giving them in the Federal House of Representatives. They assured him of their support in the November 18th governorship election. Honorable Tony Nwoye said his ambition is born out of the desire to reduce the sufferings of the poor masses who have been denied access to social amenities and job opportunities. He gave assurance of running an inclusive government if given the mandate. The campaign train of the APC candidate was received by a large crowd drawn from various communities in the council area. From Anako, in Ayamelun local government area of Anambra State, Nwabufo Nwoye, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Support Group has expressed displeasure over the attack by the People's Democratic Party on the President Buhari-led administration. A statement signed by the group chairman, Austin Brimo, said the PDP's reaction over the said reinstatement of Abdul Rashid Maina, the former chairman pension reform task team, is malicious, as the looting of pension funds, which increased the woes of pensioners and led to the death of many, started during the past administration, which did nothing to address the scam. The statement explained that the Buhari government remains relentless in tackling the issue of corruption perpetrated by the immediate past administration and enjoined Nigerians to support President Buhari in rebuilding the nation's economy, security and infrastructure that will give Nigerians a new lease of life. Now the Nigerian Air Force and Bauchi State have signed a memorandum of understanding on joint user status of Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa International Airport, Bauchi. Muazu Hassan reports that the signing of the MOU is to ensure safe operation of flights in and out of the state, as well as provide professional service that can better the status of the economy.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Nigerian Air Force and the Bauchi State Government followed a painstaking work and commendable cooperation between the two authorities. Air Officer Commanding Special Operation Command Bauchi, Air Vice Marshal Sadiq Ismail Keita, said the MOU will provide legal framework necessary to enable the Nigerian Air Force to legally contribute to the security of the airport and also provide day-to-day operation of these airports.
The Memorandum of Understanding further underscores the deep relationship between the state government and the Nigerian Air Force to ensure safe operations of flights in and out of the great state of Bauchi. It is also aimed at improving the general economic well-being of the citizens of Bauchi, leading to improved civil-military cooperation.
Air Vice Marshal Keita acknowledged the immense support the Nigerian Air Force is enjoying from Bauchi State Government since the inception of the command. Bauchi State Governor Muhammad Abdullahi Abubakar, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Muhammad Nadada Umar, appreciate the cordial working relationship between the Bauchi State Government and the command.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Air Force says its three-day intensive bombardment of some suspected locations of Boko Haram terrorists in Borno State has decimated the regrouping of the terrorists in Gatamusa near Madagali. The second location is Parisu, a northeastern gateway to Sambisa Forest. A statement by the Director of Public Relations, Air Commodore Olatokunbo Adesonya, indicates that the air interdiction carried out by 5 aircrafts all day and night have destroyed the targets, after which no terrorist movement was further observed. It noted that Operation Ruwan Wuta was launched to cripple the ability of Boko Haram terrorists from operating freely and to give the military ground forces advantage over the terrorists. Now to science and technology, as early training of Nigerian children on the use of modern-day technology has been described as vital if the country must be at par with other countries of the world. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo made this observation in Abuja while speaking at a robotics workshop for elementary, secondary and university students. Anthony Gandonu now reports.
President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo underscored the need for adequate training of Nigerian school children. Chief Obasanjo, who commended the organizers of the program, urged participants to seize the opportunity of the training workshop to equip themselves with the needed skills to move the nation forward.
If we actually plan well, robots will have their place and other jobs will be created for our teeming population, not only in Nigeria, not only in Africa, but all over the world.
The United States Consul General Lagos, Mr. John Bray, reiterated his country's readiness to sponsor any school that excels in the competition. The program is expected to train Nigerian students on how to design, build, and use robotic equipment. In Abeokuta, Anthony Gandonu, NTA News.
The Southern Nigeria Governors' Wives Forum says it is committed to the indivisibility of Nigeria as one nation. president of the forum, Norma Rochazo Korocha, said this when she led all the members of the forum on a visit to the Cross River State Governor, Ben Ayade. Omo Basiedet has details.
Governor's Wives Forum, which draws its membership from the South-South, Southeast and Southwest geopolitical zones, is geared towards complementing the giant strides of the Southern governors for the overall development of the country. Mrs. Okorocha said the forum seeks to promote the rights of the girl child, empower women, and create awareness on health issues aimed at reducing maternal and child mortality.
We, as Southern Governors' Wives Forums, Your Excellency, appreciate your efforts as all these developmental projects are geared towards improving the lives of women, children, youth, and indeed everyone in Cross River State.
Governor Ben Ayade lauded the vision of the women and noted that the Cross River State government is already creating jobs for women through its various projects.
We, the people of Cross River State, are known for our hospitality, our emotions and our empathies, our softness, our kindness. We indeed really appreciate life. Lifestyle, good living is what characterizes us.
The visit was ahead of the Southern Governors' Wives Forum's meeting holding in Calabar. In Calabar, Umo Basedet, NTA News.
A lot of views on immunization in recent time as correspondents across the nation dig deep into what actually happened and the way forward. Don't go away, it is Weekend File.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
This is the game I've been waiting for, and I get a headache. But I remembered Mom's advice. When headache strikes, I always trust Sudrex. Because Sudrex acts fast to relieve headaches. Sudrex, win your day.
Welcome to Zamfara, where opportunities meet commitment. The more than 6 years of Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari, the people's governor, reflects new dawn, new opportunities, progress, new hope, and of course, the transformed Zamfara state. Education, health, roads, water supply, and road transformation. Name it. Abdul Aziz Yari leads for others to follow. His vision and mission tied around implementing the President Buhari's change mantra to Zamfara people. Carry on, the people's governor. Zamfara, the pride of the nation. This message is brought to you by Arewa Media Group.
I don't watch the whole car. Okay, I don't. Okay, 500 naira me. Okay, you don't inspire my life.
Adamu, which kind magic 500 naira won't do? You don't even reach you to take carry me comot safe.
Now go there. But he reached me to enter draw to meet with Dangote one-on-one.
With the FGNI app and just 500 naira, you stand a chance to meet one-on-one with Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man. As the Be Inspired meetings gives Nigerians a chance to meet one-on-one with icons. To qualify for the draw, download FGNI app from Apple Store or Google Play Store. Go to the Be Inspired section and follow the instructions. Cost of travel and accommodation of all winners within Nigeria will be borne by the organizers.
Entries close at midnight on Sunday, 12th of November 2017.
Terms and conditions apply.
Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
These patriots worked together to achieve independence for one united Nigeria. Although some may say Nigeria is a mistake, we all know that the Almighty never makes mistakes.
God has not made a mistake by bringing us all together in the way that He has brought us together. God has put us together here so that we can build a community that will be an example to the entire world.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Great to know you're still there on Weekend Foul. Now, there is scientific proof that not only does immunization prevent disease and confer immunity on an individual, but the most cost-effective health intervention for children, especially those under 1 year. With so much effort and commitment on the part of the federal government and development partners, and the fact that it is given free of charge, vaccine-preventable diseases account for approximately 22% of child deaths in Nigeria. Health correspondent Rabi Abdallah takes it up from here.
Immunization, also referred to as vaccination, is a global initiative considered a very important way of preventing dangerous and sometimes life-threatening diseases. For children under 1 year, routine baby immunization findings show helps to prevent 9 diseases, which include hepatitis B, measles, polio, mumps, and whooping cough. Vaccines are, however, said to be effective only when administered as scheduled against specific diseases that they were developed for. The safety, potency, and effectiveness of vaccines, experts say, is not in doubt, as all the ones being used in the country meet international standards and quality set by the World Health Organization and are further certified by NAFDAC. Nigeria still records only 33% immunization coverage despite the country's efforts. Religious beliefs, culture, ignorance, and rumor are said to be major factors responsible for the low immunization coverage in the country.
There is no reason why we should prevent this child who has no voice of saying, keep me healthy, get me a good start in life. A healthy child also protects a community. If your child gets measles and suffers from complications of measles, such as blindness, that has a toll on your income. If your child gets polio and gets disabled, that is a cost that you will have to incur for the rest of your life. So let's think about it, what the impact of not vaccinating a child would be.
UNICEF have the key role to play for immunization. The first one is logistic management, actually is the vaccine management to make sure the vaccine is there. And the second one is a communication site. We make sure communication is working very well. The mother they can get vaccine for the children anytime for all health facilities.
The current National Immunization Coverage Survey adjudged Edo State as the best performing state in routine immunization coverage, a feat that is said to have led to a huge reduction in vaccine-preventable disease rate in the state. Having more states achieving such status and, in other, not to reverse the gains the country has recorded. More awareness creation with emphasis on benefits of vaccine and immunization services, analysts say, must be prioritized in order to allay the public of their fears and doubts. In Abuja, Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
Now, despite the rumor-based scare that recently created panic in Rivers State, South Nigeria, concerning the alleged forced vaccination in schools by the military, immunization is still accepted by people in the state as a socially responsible practice because they recognize immunization as a veritable means of building a healthy society. Onengie Fineface has more on the prevalent perceptions and efforts of this phenomenon in Rivers State.
Thanks to monkeypox disease outbreak in Bayelsa State, which set other states in the region on panic,
the practice of immunization became temporarily suspect among citizens. With the passing of the scare, the confidence of people in the medical profession has helped correct wrong perceptions held about immunization.
There is no vaccination against monkeypox. In fact, there is no vaccine for monkeypox. This scare about monkeypox is so unfounded.
To further promote this confidence and return positive perceptions about the phenomenon, the River State government suspended vaccination exercises, choosing instead to vigorously educate the populace on the gains and impact of immunization programs.
So at the moment, there are no personnel of the Ministry of Health, whether primary health care or health management board or any guys or any of our partners immunizing anyone or in any school.
The effects of immunization as a preventive measure to solving medical issues and reducing the disease burden of the state is also sinking in to the consciousness of more persons.
We have diphtheria, we have whooping cough, we have measles. All these ones are preventable by immunization, and now we have added hepatitis, both hepatitis B, hepatitis C. All these are vaccine preventable diseases.
Respondents say, as is applicable to other activities of government, public enlightenment and education should precede immunization and vaccination programs in the states. In Port Harcourt, Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
Available records from immunization centers in some states in the Southeast Zone indicate that the level of awareness of parents on immunization in the last 2 years is above 90%. However, some factors such as the recent rumor on forceful immunization of children by some persons in some states in the zone have brought fear in parents and apathy towards the program. Chinenye now reports.
Enugu State awareness campaigns on immunization are carried out by the State Ministry of Health to encourage parents to make their children available for the exercise, which could be done house to house and health facilities. Parents are also provided with a health card on which each dose of vaccine and date of next immunization is recorded.
It helps them in brain development and their growth. So it is not something we can overlook. Vitamin A is very, very important.
In Abia State, government support towards healthcare delivery has contributed to high level of compliance to immunization. However, such factors as religious belief and ethnicity, inaccessibility and inability to maintain potency of live vaccines in remote areas, if not properly addressed, the consequences of parents' apathy towards immunization, health experts say, would bring about infections and diseases in children, as well as increase child morbidity and mortality in Nigeria. In Enugu, Chinenye, NTN News.
A reduction in the rate of children visiting health facilities for various ailments serve as an evident indicator on the positive effect of immunization in Sokoto State. Mohammed Nasser tells us more.
People in Sokoto State had previously had negative perception of routine and supplementary immunization, seeing it as an important ideology of Western world that has adverse effects on the society. However, with the intensified commitment by government, donor agencies and other stakeholders, there is significant progress as parents now take their children for immunization in view of its importance.
3 years back, there wasn't phasing of delivery in hospitality in Gagi. But today, in a month, almost 30 women deliver in Gagi facilities today. So this has shown that the more government engage community members, the more also partners, development agencies, they can also be capable of changing the negative perceptions.
Immunization, according to medical experts, develops children's immunity against child killer diseases. For instance, there were common diseases like smallpox, guinea worm, and goiter that have been eradicated through immunization. In Sokoto State, government and other stakeholders are up to date, following annual planned immunization programs, targeting about 85% of total number of children in the state, amounting to over 1.7 million.
And going by the statistical data we see from the field, we have now achieved about
76 to 80%. Compared with the first, I believe you can understand that our hospitals are being filled in with a lot of children based on hospitals, but the number has reduced drastically.
The success had been achieved due to intensified awareness and sensitization campaigns of the importance of immunization. However, there are little challenges hindering total success of the immunization programs, and authorities say efforts are on to address them. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
And from Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya examines the state government's immunization strategy, its effectiveness and the compliance level.
Experts, immunization remains one of the most cost-effective strategies for disease prevention and health promotion amongst children. It is said to be safe and gives a lifelong immunity in most vaccine-preventable diseases. Clinical statistics have shown that immunization exercise is largely successful in Lagos. An official of the Lagos State Ministry of Health, Monsurat Adeleke, says routine immunization is available in all 339 public health centers, 1,739 private medical facilities, and 18 military and paramilitary hospitals, making it accessible and available for all.
We also do outreach services where we actually take it to the communities, and it's free, it's readily available, it's very safe, it's effective in preventing all these diseases.
The almost total acceptance of the immunization program, the government says, has led to a reduction in deaths from vaccine-preventable diseases. Intensive social mobilization to create awareness on the importance of immunization and strategies to reach defaulters are some other initiatives put in place to strengthen the immunization program in Lagos State.
We're working on a lot of strategies like defaulter tracking mechanisms, where we are also trace them and ensure that we remind them of their hospital visits and all to ensure that they come.
Monsurat Adeleke also spoke on the recent immunization scare in parts of the country.
We're working with the communication plan team, and we formed a committee just to debunk the rumors and to let people know that nothing has changed and that all this monkeypox thing and all is just a rumor. Nobody is going to inject anyone to kill them. Immunization is to prevent diseases.
The immunization exercise by the Lagos State government covers vaccination against polio, measles, pneumonia, tuberculosis, and other vaccine-preventable diseases. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
One of the initiatives making impact on the success of immunization program by the government is the strong voice by the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Healthcare under the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III. Joshua Ojito reports that the committee, which held its third quarterly engagement in Lafia, has been strengthening collaboration and sensitization among key players.
The committee, under the leadership of the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, was formed 8 years ago to promote ways of polio eradication and other communicable diseases in northern Nigeria. The third quarterly engagement in Lafia, which reviewed milestones, challenges and prospects, resolved on doing more to enhance partnerships on increasing access to vaccination by stakeholders as the Sultan debunks claims that polio vaccines were poisonous.
We must never play politics with people's lives, especially when it comes to health and security issues. And we believe in immunization, and we believe there's nothing wrong with the immunization.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency notes the appreciable dedication of the Sultan-led committee in the fight against poliovirus and success of immunization program. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Next is our guest, who indeed is a specialist on immunization matters. Stay tuned.
This is your playground. Get free 200,000 Naira preloaded on the new Jumbo SIM. Yes, 200,000 Naira. It's massive. Now every SIM is a Jumbo SIM. Get it, use it, flaunt it. The largest data network. Glow, grandmasters of data.
Baby, do me jelly. Now you can find Coke Studio in your Coca-Cola bottle. Simply check under the crown for a code, dial *505# and send the code to download exclusive music, coloring back tones, and wallpapers of your favorite artists.
Catch the show on AIT every Sunday by 6 p.m. Promo exclusive to MTN subscribers only.
Coke Studio, where music meets.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Great to have you back on the news. Let's take a bit of politics before we go to our main focus. The Progressive People's Alliance, PPA, has officially flagged off its campaign with Mr. Godwin Ezimo as the standard bearer of the party in the November 18 Anambra governorship election. The flag-off was held in Onitsha, Anambra State. Timothy Yusuf now reports.
Like rally where supporters of the governorship candidate cutting across groups and associations took a procession to demonstrate their solidarity.
Great Anambra Dynamic Women of Integrity Organization.
National Chairman of PPA, Peter Ame, described the party's candidate as a man of honesty and integrity who is well endowed to lead the people aright.
Because we are not just here to present to you a candidate. We are here to present to you Mr. Integrity. Prosperity to the people.
The PPA governorship candidate presented a 7-point manifesto centered on providing improved health, security, agriculture, power, education, empowerment and environment. He promised to provide social security and justice for all if voted into office.
When we are thinking about how we can better the life of black man, it is beyond making money to put in our pockets. It's now a matter of how can we regenerate ourselves. How can we make the youth have future in the black world? This is the point.
He thereafter unveiled Mr. Stanley Ukwoka as his running mate and also signed a social contract tagged Anambra Can Be Better with the People. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Yes, we have with us in the studio the Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. We have Dr. Faisal Shuaib. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
Now, Dr. Shuaib, can you let us into the world of immunization and how much resources really go into it?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, quite a lot of resources goes into providing the vaccines that we use to protect our children against vaccine-preventable diseases. A lot of these resources are domestically raised from the Nigerian government, but we also have a huge chunk that comes from development partners. So I'll give you an example. A few years ago in Abu Dhabi, high net worth individuals all across the globe raised some $5.5 billion towards immunization. Now, when people ask, how come vaccines are being given free while other medicines are not provided free of charge? Well, it is because somebody else has donated the funds that was used to procure these vaccines. So in terms of domestic resources, I'll give you an example. Last year when we had the outbreak of polio, after almost 2 years without a single case of polio in Nigeria, Mr. President quickly reacted by making available 9 billion naira towards a rapid outbreak response against polio. That is why we've gone 13 months now without a single case of polio. So fingers crossed, we're hoping that we probably have interrupted polio once again.
So we're doing quite well.
Absolutely.
Now, how
when it comes to the polio eradication program.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, how do you now reconcile, if you've heard the recent rumors and rejection and other factors said to be responsible for Nigeria's low immunization coverage?
Right. So two completely different things, right? So on the one hand, when we heard about these rumors linking monkeypox and vaccination, you know, at the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, we were shocked because there's no linkage whatsoever. Nobody gave vaccinations, right, around the time that the military was carrying out its social responsibility. They did not vaccinate anybody in those areas where they had a medical mission. So when those rumors started, you know, we just couldn't understand it. And really, it tore deeply at our hearts at MPHCDA because we took one step back and said, why would anybody link something that is preventive with vaccinations against monkeypox? Here we are about 3 years ago. National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, along with the Federal Ministry of Health and the NCDC, raised a team that I coordinated to go to the front line when we had an outbreak of Ebola in Lagos and then subsequently in Port Harcourt. We put our lives on the line, you know, to ensure that we did not have a full outbreak of Ebola like we had in Sierra Leone, in Guinea and Liberia, right? So it caused havoc in those countries. But because we worked together with our development partners and then we had very strong leadership, we were able to stop Ebola from spreading to other parts of Nigeria. It is the same agency that is responsible for providing vaccines. I lead that agency. So the same types of passion, the same type of commitment to ensure that we provide the highest quality of care to Nigerians is what drives us every day at the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. And I think one of the first things that Mr. President did when he came into office was to say, we must bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots when it comes to access to quality primary health care delivery. And that's exactly what we're doing. So irrespective of where you live, we try and make the vaccines available to you. We do not, you know, say you pay a single kobo. Anywhere anybody is paying for vaccines, it's wrong, whether it's in the public or the private sector. In the private sector, we can understand if you're paying for the card, but you shouldn't be paying for the vaccines.
Now, Dr. Faisal, you are well trained and, of course, you have had a wealth of experience in your journey in Seattle, Washington, and in the University of Alabama, Birmingham, where you have been working. Now, are we looking at legislation that aims at full compliance in all these? Is it necessary?
You know, people, for the most part, get immunization. People are aware, for the most part, that immunization is necessary for kids. But when you look at situations like this where people are now pulling their kids from schools because of a rumor, you begin to wonder if people really understand that it is not at all possible that anybody in government will vaccinate kids with a virus. And we're doing all of this to protect the future generation of Nigerians. So really, it's something that people need to think through. At this point, we're not looking at legislation that will force people to comply. It's the right of the child to be vaccinated, and the expectation is that people who have the knowledge, who have the awareness, will take their kids for vaccination. On our part, what we're trying to do is to ramp up the level of awareness, and that is why we're working with traditional leaders, with community leaders, with religious leaders, to ensure that the message goes out there that vaccines are the most efficient ways of providing protection against vaccine-preventable diseases.
Now, earlier we saw in the 1990s a situation where immunization was actually quite successful with over 90% success recorded. Now, what is the difference now between the current immunization schedule and the old one?
There hasn't been a significant difference in terms of the vaccines that we give, that we used to give in the past and what we give currently. Yes, we've sort of made it easier by introducing pentavalent vaccines, which is really compressing 5 different antigens into one vaccine. And then we've also introduced a vaccine against pneumonia so that kids will stop dying from pneumonia. But essentially what has happened in the last few decades, it's what has happened to so many structures in our lives. That is, in terms of infrastructure, primary health care has really collapsed. And the unfortunate thing too is that in the last few years, while we had a collapse of the primary health care structure and the immunization coverage, there wasn't really an honest way of accepting to ourselves that, hey, we're not doing great, right? So the 2016 Mixed survey, which is a survey to see how well we're doing in terms of providing vaccines to our kids, shows that only 23% of children in Nigeria have been fully vaccinated. Now, when this survey result came out, because of the environment that has been provided by the current leadership under President Buhari, transparency, and accountability, for the first time we accepted, we said, yes, we do agree that we're not vaccinating enough of our kids. 23%, yes, it's bad, but it is a stumbling block. We can use these stumbling blocks as stepping stones to progress in terms of trying to reach our kids. In the past, you probably might have heard that, oh, we had 80%, 90% coverage in routine immunization, but there was a lot of data falsification. But this time we said we have an environment where it is discouraged. We're not going to tell lies. We're going to say exactly the truth in the spirit of transparency and accountability at the Federal Ministry of Health and MPACD. And we say, we can work on this. So that's why we're ramping up the level of communication to parents to say, if you take your kids to the health facilities, we're doing everything possible to try and revitalize and make functional these primary health care facilities so that when parents bring their kids, there's a health worker who is qualified to give potent, safe, and, and effective vaccines.
Absolutely fabulous. Now, you talked about pentavalent vaccines, and I hear you recently began hepatitis immunization as well. How well are you doing in this area?
We could be doing better. Again, these are vaccines that are part of the immunization schedule, and only 23% of our kids have been covered. So the vaccines are there. The vaccines are everywhere, in this country. But because people are not as aware as they should be, because people feel that the vaccine should be brought to their homes, and then because in some of these primary healthcare centers, you go and a parent, a mother who has so many things to do at home, has to go and queue up or wait for 2-3 hours. She doesn't have 2 to 3 hours, to waste in the health facility. Then she decides that, I can't do this every month and take my kids. It is important that parents take their kids to the health facilities, but as the health sector, we also have a responsibility to make sure that those health facilities are well organized and prepared to accept the parents and be treated in a very humane and courteous manner when the mothers bring their kids.
Now, Dr. Faisal, I just wonder, what's your take on the efforts of states towards boosting immunization coverage? We have seen in earlier reports instances where in the case of Edo State, for instance, where the state governor gives cash reward to local governments, and this is said to have boosted the routine immunization coverage in that state. And in the same vein, the governor of Kaduna State is threatening to prosecute erring parents. What's your reaction to this?
That's exactly the way to go, So we've seen a lot of variability in terms of the way states have taken leadership when it comes to ensuring higher coverages when it comes to routine immunization. States like Edo, Lagos, Kaduna, Nasarawa State, states where these governors have really stepped up. We've also seen a real interest in Sokoto and Kebbi State in recent times. We just came back from those states, and the governors are really, really determined to provide the kind of resources that are required, like quarterly release of funds to ensure that the health workers are able to even leave the health facilities and go to the communities. They ensure that with the funds that the governors provide, they're able to sit around a table with traditional leaders and ask the traditional leaders, how many kids have been born in the last 2 weeks? have them be given their vaccinations? You know, the barbers that come around and do circumcision, or in hospitals, you know, really engaging and asking questions of health workers to ensure that if people do not come to the health facility, they are actually tracked. In general hospitals and teaching hospitals, ensuring that on a daily basis, routine immunization takes place in those places. So we're seeing a lot of governors really stepping up, and we're really encouraged by the fact that the leadership provided by President Buhari, Vice President Osibanjo, is really driving the governors. For instance, just about 2 weeks ago, we had a presidential task force meeting on polio eradication and routine immunization, and there, you know, the meeting was chaired by Mr. Vice President, that he made it very, very clear, and again reiterated the need for governors to show leadership in places where we're not doing as well as we could be doing. That
meeting was here in Abuja?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how did it go, you were saying?
I thought it went very well. There were frank discussions around the low coverage. There were frank discussions around monkeypox, you know, clearly discussing what the Federal Ministry of Health is doing in terms of curbing monkeypox. And the Honorable Minister of Health made it very clear that monkeypox is in no way compared to a severe disease like Ebola. It's more akin to smallpox and chickenpox. As you have already learned by now, there's been no fatality from directly from any of the cases of monkeypox. So it's not a severe disease, but it's caused so much stress and rumors.
Quite a stir.
Absolutely. So it is really one thing that we're doing at MPACDA, working with religious leaders, with the media, including print and social media, to send out the correct information. When we spend our effort trying to debunk these rumors, it sort of detracts us from what we should be doing, which is really ensuring that we have higher coverages for routine immunization, and then we're able to use these resources to do better preparedness in case we have outbreaks of diseases. So we're at a situation at MPACDA, for instance, and Federal Ministry of Health, where we're saying, look, there's been so many things that we've done in the past. There's been a lot of strategizing, planning that we've done in the Federal Ministry of Health. Now is the time to execute. You know, how do we deliver on all those strategies that we know work? Right? We don't need new strategies. We now need to ensure that we deliver on those strategies. We execute with the highest level of efficiency. And when we have such rumors, they really begin to dissipate the kind of commitment and energy that we're trying to ensure that we improve primary health care in Nigeria.
Precisely, Dr. Shuaibu. Enough of the rumors, I would say. Now, earlier we heard about the contaminated vaccines rumor also in the country. Has this been put to rest, and considering the forthcoming measles campaign?
There are no contaminated vaccines. So vaccines go through a very rigorous process, you know, of certification, starting from the global level to local level, right? So before any vaccines come to Nigeria, they have to be pre-qualified by the World Health Organization. And upon reaching Nigeria, NAFDAC also goes through a very rigorous and painstaking way to ensure that these vaccines that we're giving to our children are safe, they're potent, they're efficient. By the time they even leave NAFDAC, for instance, and go to our stores, we keep them in particular temperatures that ensure that they continue to remain potent. And that is why we're calling all parents to make their kids available when the health workers go to the nearest fixed post for measles vaccine. The campaign starts on the 9th of November, and we hope that, you know, people should discount these rumors and make their kids, present their kids for this vaccination. We protect their kids from measles disease.
Okay, now looking at what your agency has done so far, I know you've done quite a lot, but I want to focus attention in the Northeast. What precisely have you been able to do in that region?
So in the Northeast, we've done a lot of work, especially around improving access to the vaccines. But apart from the access to the vaccines, we're using an integrated approach, because it's not just vaccines that people need in the Northeast. We're doing a lot of, integrating with maternal, neonatal and child health services, ensuring that kids also get, pumping nuts. We're also looking at malnutrition, because we've seen a lot of malnutrition. We're doing a lot of work when it also comes to ensuring that those health facilities that have been destroyed due to the insurgency are renovated. We're getting health workers to man those areas, because those are the areas of the most need right now. And
you in IDP camps as well?
Absolutely. In the IDP camps, we ensure that for those who were able to make it to the IDP camps, that they have all the health interventions that they need. And we know that for now, we are not able to access 2 local government areas, and that is why we cannot declare that we have interrupted polio in Nigeria. But as soon as we have access to Abadam and Marte LGA, then we're able to access and really do surveillance activities to see if we still have polio virus circulating in those 2 LGAs, or if we have other diseases that are in the form of outbreaks occurring in those LGAs. But by and large, we're working with the local communities, we're working with traditional leaders, and we're making progress, as it were.
Very quickly, we learned that development partners will eventually drop their support to immunization. What are the plans from transition to sole funding by the government?
So in the course of the next few years, we've been in conversations with the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, to make it very clear that we now have to transit from a donor-driven program to a program that is owned by the federal government. And already we're seeing incremental allocations of funds for immunization activities from 2016 to 2017. There's been an increase, and we anticipate that we'll have an increase again in 2018. Hopefully, with this kind of increases over time, we'll be able to, own the immunization program and, strengthen primary healthcare as a whole.
Fantastic, fantastic work, Dr. Faisal Shuaibu. I thank you so much for being our guest on the program Weekend File, a medical doctor and a public health specialist. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ifeanyi.
Our update on Joshua Takam big fight in the next few minutes. Thanks for staying tuned, and we take another break at this point.